Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Tech Motoring. Well, we are down in Orlando, Florida, and if you haven't caught our video coming down here from Myrtle Beach to Orlando, you can take a look at that link right up here. But we are now from Myrtle Beach down here in Orlando, Florida. We took a couple days, went to Universal to get some R&R, which was great. Now we are in Orlando, Florida in a Marriott hotel for business actually. And we have this beautiful view here from the 18th floor of the Marriott. Take a look at this. Yeah, spectacular view. Really, really nice. Enjoyed my time here. But we are actually heading home today. So we are leaving here in Orlando, Florida, heading back up north to South Carolina. So we got about a 10-hour drive in front of us in the Mustang Mach-E. So we got a little bit of time, a few chargers we got to hit on the way back. I've actually gotten a couple over-the-air updates while we were here. So one was the fast charging improvement update, which I've been waiting for a long time. So we're going to see how the car charges now overall, but also when it hits the 80% mark, because I'm really curious to see if we get a little bit better than like 20 kilowatts after 80%, and then it dips down to like 10. So we're going to see if that gets improved today with that update. And we also got the 3.5.2 update, I believe. Not that really changes too much. It's just getting ready for, I guess, Amazon Alexa and the Mustang Mach-E and a couple other things. But anyway, yeah, we got a trip ahead of us, so make sure you stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button. We're coming right back at you. And by the way, this hotel didn't really have any chargers for J1772 cars. They had like 4 Tesla chargers in the parking garage that were usually always packed. And then they had 4 on the first floor of the parking garage that you couldn't get to because it was, valet can only get to that first floor, which was really weird. And then on top of that, there was one J1772 charger in a different parking garage that was being used by someone else. So I had no way of charging while I was here unless I left the grounds, which we didn't do. So we're actually going to be leaving today with like 50-something% state of charge, and we're going to get to the first charger, which I believe is Ormond Beach or something. So we're going to head towards 95, get to that charger, and charge up, and then start the trip from there. And which is cool because we're going to see a couple different chargers today than we did on the way down. So this will be a little bit different than that. And as you saw from the previous video, we had some pretty bad luck up in South Carolina as far as a charger session went, a charging session went. So we'll have to see how the chargers are on this side of that border and see how well they work down here. So far, everything other than that one coming down was good, but today's going to really be a test to see the other chargers on the 95 corridor and see how well they are.
All right, made it to the first charger. Slightly low state of charge, only 20%. Plenty of buffer left. About 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. Most of this was highway, about 75 miles to get here. Most of our energy was driving because it's still pretty cool in the morning. But it's up to 82 degrees now. We just pulled into an Electrify America station here in Myrtle Beach. And as you can see, they kind of hide these chargers behind all of these shipping containers here. So let's get plugged in and see how the new charging update works. All right, finally at the charger. That one was dead over there, so we had to move over here. We're at a 150 cabinet now. Let's take a look, see low state of charge of 20%. Let's see what we can pull. Can we beat the record of 117 in this car? We'll find out. Oh, another complimentary session here from Electrify America. I am never going to use the rest of my free charging from Ford. They're probably doing this due to the recent hurricane here in Florida. I'm sure that this is just a way for people to not have to worry about charging up their cars. Either that or all these cabinets are broken down here, which would be kind of weird. It's an older ABB unit here, so that's hopefully going to get swapped out in the near future with these new Electrify America chargers that they've got. I am waiting for something to happen here. What am I doing? Car's going to be charged before I can see how fast it's going. There we go. All right, still 111, 110. All right, so nothing changed really on the low end of things, but we'll see when it hits 80% to see if our charging rate increased from about 20 kilowatts to hopefully about 40 is from what I heard most people are getting. But we'll see, since this is the smaller battery pack in this car, we'll see if that increases at all. So let's let this charge up. We'll come back to this in a little bit. All right, well, here we are just about finishing up our charge. Our next leg of the trip's going to be about 154 miles to the next Walmart. Looks like we're going to be somewhere in Georgia at that point. We are just charging up here and finishing up. We are at 78% state of charge, only pulling in about 52 kilowatts of energy right now. This was a pretty poor charging session. Excuse the motorcycles. Pretty poor charging session here today because we hit about 112, 113 kilowatts. And then it went down pretty hard to about 80 kilowatts shortly thereafter, right around 50%. So hopefully the next chargers we get to will be a little bit better than this. But I'm really curious to see what happens when we hit 80%. Will we sit around 40 kilowatts as opposed to jumping all the way down to 20-something kilowatts? Well, we'll find out shortly. So we'll come back in just 1%. All right, well, we just hit 80%. And the second we hit 80%, we jumped down to 31 kilowatts. Which is probably a little bit better than what I used to get. I think it used to drop down to like teens. I'll have to check back some of my older videos to see. But yeah, it looks like the charging curve has been slightly extended on this vehicle. We don't need to stay here any longer. I really just wanted to see this 80% to see what happened to the speed. So 31 seems to be holding it pretty well there. But we'll see. Maybe at the next charger we'll be there a little longer. Right now I think we should just get back on the road, get to the next charger, and try to get us home. So let's unplug and get going. Let's go ahead and stop it now. 34 minutes. It would have been $18.50 to charge, but thankfully it was a free complimentary session. Let's go ahead and unplug that charger. There we go. Flaps up. Door closed. Head on out. Well, we burned off a lot of energy. 150 mile trip, a little over 2 hours, 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. Most of this was 70 miles per hour plus. We got here 12%. That's the lowest I've ever had this car at before. 28 mile buffer. We actually burned a little bit because we started with a 40 something mile buffer. So yeah, a little extra speed, a little extra burning of electrons there. So let's get out and see how the charging is now. We're down to 12%. All right, plugged in, ready to go, spooling up. Let's see where we are at. Busy charger here. This handle is broken, so I had to end up using this side of the charger to get it to my to my car. Let's see, and it's still initiating the charging here. Uh-oh. That's not good. All right, so sitting at the charger here, 2 of the chargers down, 2 people already here charging. I myself and another person is waiting, plus a Rivian just came in that was thinking about charging up as well. It looks like we're gonna try a Chargepoint charger about 3 miles away and see if we have any better luck there. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a slower charger, but we still gotta get lunch anyway, so hopefully there's some place to eat over there. So we're gonna head there right now, and hopefully we have some better luck. Hopefully there's not more cars there. All right, so we are here at this Stripling's General Store here. We got some CPE 250 chargers here, Chargepoint. First time I've ever needed to use a Chargepoint charger on a road trip. So this is gonna be quite interesting. Let me see if I can do this here. You know what? I'm gonna move up a few feet. All right, got ourselves plugged in, got ourselves authorized on the screen here, so we are charging up. Looks like this is 125 kilowatt DC shared, so that's good because there's nobody here. So that means we should be getting pretty much the full thing here. It shows 11% battery. That's where we're at right now. Yeah, pretty cool. So we're at 39. It's hard to see the screen. I apologize if you can't see it. 52, 53, 60, 67. All right, we're creeping up. Okay, so maybe it's 125 kilowatts split between the 2 chargers regardless of if there's a car there, which is very annoying. So that means we're going to be stuck at 67 kilowatts for this charging session. Not ideal here. We might be here for a little bit, but you know what, this is better than waiting a half an hour at the other charger. We're gonna go and go into this general store and see if we can get some food. 68 kilowatts, that's all we're getting. That's all she wrote. Oh well. Boy, that looks healthy, doesn't it? Wow. All right, thank you, Chargepoint, Georgia Power. We got ourselves charged up 87%, starting out the rest of the trip here. So we're gonna head out right now and get up 95 a little further. All right, made it to our next stop here in Lodge. We're in Lodge, South Carolina. 135 miles on that last trip, a little over 2 hours. 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour because I think we were fighting some wind on that one. I think we're going to get a little bit of help going home. Look at our speed efficiency there. That's crazy, 21%. But we got here with 26% battery remaining. So we're going to charge up here as our last charge for the day, and then we'll be home. So let's see how we charge up. Plugged in, and let's see, we are connecting. Maybe now I can use the rest of my free charging from Electrify America and Ford. I'll have to take a look here. Nice Ioniq 5 here. Charging up. Passed us on 95 a little while ago. Yep, welcome driver, Ford plan. That means it is charging my Ford plan. So let's take a look and see how we charge up. 26%, charging up 20, 25, 28. Oh, okay, we're already in the 40s. Let's see if we get something good. Hard to hear anything out here with this truck idling next to us. Ooh, we're stopping at 105. I think the battery's a little toasty right now. Might be why we're getting a little bit slower speeds than normal, but it's okay. It won't take us too long to get this charged up to about 80% before we get back on the road. All right, we're gonna run inside for a little bit, and then we'll see you at the end of this charging session. All right, finishing up here, 82% state of charge, almost 40 kilowatt hours in the battery. Let's go ahead and stop the charge right there. Click, click, click. All right, get that handle back in the holster there, and we are gonna head home right now. We'll see you there. is some proper road tripping right there. We made it home 11% state of charge, only 27 miles left on the battery. The last leg of this trip, 164 miles, 3 hours and change, 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which sounds really good, but I'll tell you this. At one point, we were at 3 miles per kilowatt hour. When we were on Route 95 doing about 70-ish miles per hour, we were at 3 miles per kilowatt hour. I had about a 20-mile buffer when we started. We were down to about 12 miles of buffer when we got off of Route 95. We started going on to this back road to get from 95 to where we live here, and most of the speeds between 35 and 55. We were able to build that buffer from 12 miles up to 27 miles just by slowing down a little bit. So it just goes to show you, that this car has so much more range if you just slow down a little bit. So we got it from 3 miles per kilowatt hour up to 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour before we got home. This speed efficiency down here was down to 18% when we were on Route 95. 18. So we got it from 18% to 63% just by doing a little slower speeds. So that is our trip on the last leg. This should be our trip for today. 527 miles, 9 hours, 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour of, average efficiency for that trip. You can see all the stats right here. Obviously, I don't know why these are so bad. That's really weird. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But that's the trip. And I think this is our total trip. 1,034 miles total trip, 19 hours of driving, 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. There's all the statistics for that. And yeah, once again, I don't know why these are that far off. This doesn't seem right. Maybe it is, but it doesn't seem right. But anyway, that is our trip. And I got something funny to tell you in just a second.
Well, home sweet home. We got home, got the Mach-E in the garage, got it plugged into the just 110 volt charger right now, just to get the car charged up slowly. This way the BMS can balance itself after a long day of fast charging and whatnot. So we want to make sure that we kind of give it a good chance to get balanced up. So yeah, so we had a good trip, awesome time. The car was fantastic, had no issues whatsoever. Just charging issues, obviously. Electrify America is really gonna get on, and I know they're in the middle of swapping out all the chargers with these new fandangled chargers that they got, but they got a lot of chargers out there and they got a lot to fix. So they really need to get on, as I didn't have this many issues going north of where we are, mainly just south, but this is the first time we've ever gone south from where we live here in South Carolina, so that was definitely a different change for us, and it was pretty interesting. So we ended up getting home with 11% state of charge. And this is the funny story. This was the problem I made. So we had to leave the charger. The car was recommending we leave the charger with 78%, which should get us home with like 6%, something like that. So we charged up to 82% because we were talking to some really cool guys at the charger. Both had Ioniq 5s. We actually were following each other back and forth on 95 all the way from Florida today, so it was kind of cool to see them. Shout out to the one gentleman, I didn't get your name, but he asked if I was a YouTuber. I said yes. He got on and was able to subscribe to my channel, so thank you very much for that. But we were talking for a while, so I ended up charging the car to 82%, so I was like, all right, cool, that's fine. I usually hit 80% and then we go. Well, the second we were supposed to get onto 95, I ended up making a turn onto 95 southbound. And then the worst, I said, well, I'll just go to the next exit, make a U-turn, and come back. Well, the second we get onto 95, it is just dead stopped traffic. The next exit's 3.5 miles away. Oh, that was awful to experience. And so we were able to finally loop around after about 15 minutes in traffic, get back on 95. But now we're at a deficit of almost 8 miles. So now we were looking at trying to get home with 8 miles less than what we had, and I still had to drop my boss off, who was with me in the car. I had to drop him off at his house first, and it was estimating that we were going to get about
a 20-mile buffer from when we left the charger. I ate into that buffer while driving on 95 when I was doing a little over 70 miles per hour. And that ended up going down to 12 miles, got off the exit, and I was able to get from 12 miles of buffer all the way back up to 27 miles of buffer when I pulled into the driveway. So it just goes to show you that you can increase your efficiency significantly on the Mach-E just by slowing down a little bit. And, you know, that's the thing of really any electric car, not just the Mach-E. But the Mach-E has such a good range that, you know, being able to do that is fantastic. But, you know, we had a fantastic trip. We had a great time. Once again, Mach-E ran perfectly. Chargers were hit and miss. And we pretty much hit almost every Electrify America charger from here all the way down to Orlando. Almost every single one we hit. We hit 3 going down and then 3 coming back up, all different. And I was able to see the differences between all of them. And yeah, there's a lot of work to be done as far as that goes. In fact, you saw in the video, the 4 chargers, 2 were down, 2 were being used, and the one, she was plugged in with an ID4 at 80%. She plugged in at like 78% state of charge. And she's like, I'll be back in a half an hour. It needs 30 minutes. So 2 working chargers, both being used. I was in line. There was a Hyundai Kona in line, and then a Rivian R1T came across, and they were waiting for a charger, even though they said they didn't really need it, but they were just there just in case they needed it, because they were from out of town as well. And yeah, just craziness at that charger. So we ended up driving 3.5 miles to get to a Chargepoint charger that was 125 kilowatts shared, so we only got about 67, 68 kilowatts max on that charger. But we got lunch, we ate, we got back 83%, I believe, is what we ended up with at that charger. And then we were able to get back in the car, shoot back onto 95. Unfortunately, we lost a little bit of time wasting, you know, there as well. But, you know, at least we had a bailout option in this case. And that was the only other, you know, charger. And we got to that charger with 11%. So we didn't really have much range left to get back on 95 and go to the next couple exits. Not an option at that point. So, hey, at least the infrastructure is getting there, and at least we're not relying on one company to make it happen. So, yes, Electrify America let me down this time, but you know what? We had a backup, and that's really what all that, you know, that's what matters. That's what matters at that point. But anyway, hope you liked this episode. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up just below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Of course, check us out on our website, techmotoring.com, facebook.com/techmotoring, on Twitter, @techmotoring. I'd like to thank you very much for watching today's episode. And remember, welcome to the future. Welcome to Tech Motoring. We'll see you on the next episode.